this episode is not going to be my maximum effort. I got caught in analysis paralysis. I was planning the episode, and nothing was happening. So, today I'm just going to wing it. I was planning on what to do this episode. I really want to finish up with this section today. So, this will be the last episode in this area. I was going to do this big building here that was going to be even bigger than this, which was a massive task. I was going to build this building because I wanted to do a gold farm, but I don't need to do that. And I also wanted a metro going through it, or a monorail or something. It'd be this big building here, and then, your gold farm stuff would be coming in here through portals, but also there'd be a monorail that would have a big actual monorail come through and go around the island. Yeah, I just can't be asked doing that, to be honest. But I think that's not needed for this area, and so we won't do it. Cool idea. Maybe for another building, but not here. Instead, I want to focus on this, at least for the first half of this episode, because I'm not happy with this, and I can't put my finger on why. It doesn't fit with the rest of the build. So, let's change that. This is Will from the future with a bit of hindsight. I do realize that there was some weird cropping going on and you couldn't see my hotbar. I want to apologize for that. I understand that might be annoying for some people. It was certainly annoying for me. But it gets fixed, don't worry. I don't like this entrance. It just looks different. There's also a big problem with this section here. You come down here, obviously it's not lit, but there's no way for me to get across to that side of the street. I'd have to go all the way back around and then cross in the middle of the street, which, it's not busy, but it's not a good idea. So what we're going to do is going to get rid of this entrance, put a staircase up this way, and then across this roof like this, which will lead into the car park. I think that's a good idea. And yes, like I said, I'm not giving my maximum effort.
Maximum effort.
So, no fancy camera shots and stuff. I've been trying to improve my recording, and hopefully that's been obvious, but at the end of the day, that's just a lot of work, and I can't be bothered. And so I'm not going to do it. But hey, at least you get to see me build this from the ground up, instead of just in a time-lapse. Let's fix this up. Cool. Alright, so this is going to be our block palette for the staircase, heading into the car park. Very, very simple, which I like. Less texturing, less busyness, and better inventory management. We got some polished tuff, light grey concrete with an accent of yellow, and then we're going to use verdant frog lights for lighting, just because I have a lot of them and they're not getting used. Maybe we've got enough. Let's just start, and then we'll see what we need. Yeah? I say that, but it's still not very easy. So, let me try explain my design the best I can. In a game called Cyberpunk 2077, you see a lot of staircases going up to apartments, etc., etc. And they're never just straight up. There's not just one solid line, that goes whoop, it goes whoop, flat, whoop, and then it connects. So I'm going to try to do that. Normally they have an overhang as well. I tried to do that in a creative world, didn't work. It just wasn't working. First, let us get some polished andesite stairs. Up. Alright. What do I do, Japeth? 2 or 3? You're right, I should just have a look and see. No, I think 2's good, actually. Yeah. I think 3 would be 1 block too long. So that's good, that's good. Good call, Japeth, good call. Okay. Now, like this. Like, just trying to think here. That's right. Let's just bring this across like this. We go like this. Yes, exactly like that. And fill this in here. It's not quite looking right to me. So I have figured out the issue. And we must demolish this all and do it again. Hey, that's just how it goes. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, you know? Alright, now. Stairs. Start here. I was going to say, why does that look so funny? Because I forgot to put the stairs over here. There we go. Now, those of you who are particularly astute may recognize this design somewhat from over here. It's pretty much the same as this. You know, we got the different tiers of the stairs and the thing on the side. Little different, but basically the same. Alright, looking good. Me likey. Cool, so now we got our staircase into this little courtyard area. Still need some ideas for this, guys. Still need some ideas. We gotta fix this up. So this needs to be structurally integral. And we'll do that by putting a basalt. Nice. Nice. Looks a little more rounded. Speaking of rounded, see how many we get. Yeah, I need one more. One more. Cool. You do lose a bit of texture, but it does make the corner feel a lot bigger just by having that slight curve to it. It's little, but it's important. Now let's take this down. You might be asking, Will, why are we taking this down? Don't need it. Don't need it anymore. Let's get rid of this as well. We're cutting it incredibly close. But you know what? It's okay, because I never go in the wool farm anyway. Ting, ting, ting. Now we need to add a trim along here as well. Misa thinks. Much better. This looks odd now. Let's just fill this in. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. It's looking good, but we're going to change things a little bit over here. We're just going to make it go all the way across. Maybe and trust the process, guys. I know we've got a floating pillar. Trust the process. Let's get 4 of these. 1, 2, 3. Bam. 1, 2, 3. Bam. done. Let me just pretend like none of that mess is there. Bada bing, bada boom. Ah, so much better. Hold on, let's turn shaders on. It's a night and day difference. Especially with that weird... Yeah. I like that a lot. Yep. Woo, she laggy. Isn't that such a cool frame? That's so cool. Imagine what it would look like if I actually did the rest of the texturing. Oh, man. The sunlight reflecting on that wall? Ah, oh, come on now. So much cooler. Love it. And now we can actually, like, get across the road. Alright, I'm super happy with that. We got the staircase in now, and the little shelter. This is a shulker box loader. Now, I tried a few different iterations that I found on the YouTube, and this one by Ray's seems to work best for me because we can access the shulker box. So what I want to do is in here have all the drops separated out into their categories, their block types, and I'll sort it out from here. And then basically send them into these shulker box loaders and extended storage, which means that I can come in here if I only need a couple stacks, grab some gunpowder or grab some bones or whatever, and then be on my way. I don't have to take a full shulker box of gunpowder. Now the problem with this is that it is 8-ish blocks tall, and we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 blocks worth of height. So we need to bring this down 4 blocks. So let's go ahead and do that. So the design I showed you literally 2 seconds ago, we're not using that. I started to think of some potential flaws that make it so that the shulker loader wouldn't quite work with what I wanted to do. And so I've switched this to 2 wide tileable. So I've abandoned the idea of doing 1 wides, which isn't a big deal, honestly. Now, it would be awesome if we could have 1 wide, but it's not the end of the world. So anyway, this is the design. I don't know if someone has done this before or not. This is my design, or at least what I came up with, and let's just go ahead and jump into it. We'll start with hoppers connecting to the back of these chests here, and on top of these hoppers, this is where our shulker box will be placed. Right now, we'll just use some temporary blocks because we don't actually want a shulker box on there, just at the moment. Behind it, we'll have a sea lantern, and then to the side, a full block and 2 slabs. Now if we just work our way up here, so this dirt block is where the shulker box will be. So we're going to want a comparator looking at the shulker box in subtraction mode. And then a comparator looking at a barrel over to the side here. No, my OCD is kicking in. There we go. And we need to fill that barrel with a whole bunch of items. Alright, so we're going to fill this barrel with 26 items, non-stackable items. Can be whatever. If you've got a surplus of totems of undying, you could do that if you want. I'm just going to use shares because it's easy. And then 8. So we got something like this. Let me just get rid of the iron because I don't need that. And so what this is doing is this comparator is looking at this and is looking... Sorry, this is really annoying me. Hostile creatures. Peace and quiet. So this comparator is looking at this shulker box, and basically it's constantly monitoring for the right signal strength. And the right signal strength is dictated by this. So you can see we've got 26 here. And without going into the weeds of it all, that basically means only when the shulker box has completely filled up. I think it's easier if I just show you. So only when the shulker box looks like this will a signal be sent. And normally what people do is have a redstone line going off there or whatever, but what I'm doing is this. And we also gonna have one looking this way. I'll talk about that in a second. So yes, let's get rid of this. In fact, I can show you right now. If I grab a... Got a shriek. If I grab a copper bulb, it's a good way to test if a pulse has been sent. So we're looking for a pulse from this one. If I place this completely full shell... Actually, let's get rid of one. If I place it right here, nothing's happening, right? If I add this final bone, ta-da, turns on. Sends a signal up here. Now what we want to do with this, I'll talk about in a second. I suppose while we have the box there, we can go like this. Now for the design that I have, this is the input system into the shulker box. We have 3 hoppers going up like this. 3 is the minimum. So we got the input with this hopper line here. We have the system that is reading how full the shulker box is with this little L shape here. Now we need to link the system that is determining how full the shulker box is with the system that breaks the shulker box. And so what we're going to do is just put a sticky piston with a half slab on top. Like that. And then, a full block here. So, sorry, I got distracted. Let's get rid of this. When a change is detected in the shulker box here, the comparator will switch on its 2 little eyes there, and the observer will see that and send a pulse into this block, which will power this block, and due to the magic of redstone, power this piston next to it, forcing it to fire down and break the shulker box, which the hopper will pick up. Now, you notice there is a block between this hopper and the shulker box, and that's to stop items from unloading. Let's watch it happen. Boop. Now, sometimes this misses, but we can fix that by just enclosing this area. The only place that I can see for loss is kind of these 3 blocks. We might be unlucky in having the shulker box fall onto this block because the hopper hit boxes, blah, and also there's a pretty major gap here. But you can fix that by putting either a cobweb here instead of a half slab, or powdered snow, which kind of catches the shulker box before it goes off in all sorts of directions. But I'm using half slab because that means we can access the shulker box when it is down here. So now we need a way of putting in new shulker boxes, right? Because we've loaded shulker boxes, but once it breaks, how does it refill? You know, how do we load another one? So we put a dispenser here. There's got to be a dispenser, not a dropper. Dropper won't do anything. Dispenser places / fires blocks of certain kinds. And connected to that, we will put a hopper. Whoop, like that. And a barrel on top. This can be kind of any storage block. You could have rails running along here if you wanted. But I'm just going to do barrels. There we go. And if I soon as I place this, it'll place the next shulker box, as if the system was still going. Oop, see? There we go. Works like a charm. You can even put that to the test by doing it again. Let's put this in here and load this one up. Here we go. See? 66% of the time it works all the time. Now, there are only two problems I can see with this is one, like I said before, the items that keep falling out over here. And two, the shulker box will only be broken if it has complete stacks of items. So it must be filled all the way to 64. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's got to be 64. So if you have one chest in here and everything else is fully stacked, it won't break. But I mean, if you had 64 dirt in there and everything else was string, then it would break, you know? So to solve that, you just filter out the items beforehand, which is what I'm gonna do next over here. Alright, so I went ahead and figured out how to do the redstone, where we take the items out of the hopper, drop it into a sorting system where we can sort out the different items, and then it sends it to its respective shulker box loader. So let's go ahead and look at that. This is the entrance. You can see I've decorated it, and we can still see the mobs dying. This is a little brutal, I'll be honest. All the hoppers kind of point down here and into this dropper. This redstone is overkill, but because we were working in a vertical sense and I didn't want it to take up any space in this area, I had to go up and down. And so we have a comparator looking at the dropper, and it detects when an item is in there, and it'll toggle on and off. The observer will pick that up and send a pulse through the block into the note block, into this observer, which will send a pulse into this copper bulb. Now, copper bulbs have the amazing ability of turning a pulse into a signal, again using comparators. So the problem with observers is if I connected the observer to this powering mechanism over here with this piston, it would just send out one item. We need it to send out all the items in there. The comparator is looking at it, but it only changes block state once, right? So it would only send one pulse. So we need to turn that pulse into just a constant on or constant off signal. And that's what copper bulbs do. And we detect that change in the bulb with a comparator. And we send that signal into a target block. I mean, could just be a regular block, but I like using target blocks. Anyway, that powers the redstone on top of it, which powers the sticky piston there, which has the redstone block. And when the redstone block is moved next to this sticky piston, when this sticky piston is extended, it pushes the observer up, creating the observer constant pulse thingy, powering the dropper, which then drops items. Now, I've done the same thing on the other side, and that's just for the sake of symmetry. You don't need to have this on this side. And maybe there's a more compact way of doing it. So the items get dispensed or dropped from the dropper onto this honey wall. And because the way the dropper releases items, it goes kind of over 3 blocks. So from out here, we can sometimes see some blocks falling along the side. Or if we're over here, we can see blocks falling down there. Like so. Which I think just adds a layer of dynamic interest into this build. But moving on, they fall into this water here, and we've got source blocks along these 3 bits here. 1 second. Apologies for the pause. There are some peacocks on my roof that are making it difficult to record because they're incredibly noisy. Anyway, we've got source blocks here pushing the items this way, but we need to move them into a one wide space. So we have some source blocks here and here that just centralize the items. Whoops. And they come through into a water bubble vader and a crossover here. And so we're only sorting out 4 items. We could do rotten flesh if we want, but there's no use for it. Anything that doesn't get picked up by these sorting modules just goes straight into some fire over here. You could even put a cactus there. I think cactus is a little more lag efficient. Anyway, sorting modules. This is your standard impulse SV sorting sorting system. Actually, why don't I come down? Because we need to have a look inside those. So that's embarrassing. Items go in the bubble vader across the sorting system. Now let's try and look inside the filters. So here we've got, I kind of copied what I was doing in the honey farm, because we're going to have a lot of items flowing through here. The Impulse SV setup has kind of the same amount of items, but it doesn't allow a whole bunch of items to flow over it, because in the Impulse SV one, you can only have 41 items here, and then everything else is empty. I've done it this way so that we can allow for more items to be pulled into the hopper without it getting clogged up. I had a little trouble with these droppers. I think they were getting powered from the redstone torches that are next to them, so I had to move them out by one, which is unfortunate. But anyway, we've just got another observer pulse generator, and that's shooting them off into their respective pipes, which again, they go up a bubble vader and then into the shulker loading systems. Pretty simple. Doesn't look very glamorous, that's for sure, especially not back here. And it's very loud. And so we can see we got bones here, string here, gunpowder here, and arrows here. Just like that. And that means we have officially finished one build. At least from this angle. I've also done a few odd jobs here and there. So I've moved the portal from the sidewalk there into this New York inspired metro entrance, or underground entrance. And yeah, so we just come down here and into the portal, and it still takes us to the nether roof like normal. Pretty cool. I did also do a little work inside here. Originally those frog lights there in the center area here were right up against the window, but I've pushed it back because I want this entrance here to have a path that goes into the building, you know? And so we'll work on this at some point, but I thought it would be cool to just have a solid light wall. Surprisingly, you know, now that I look at it, let's go over to the AFK spot. It's pretty small in the grand scheme of things, but we've actually got so much going on in just this little area here, and we've still got to fill out all of the island down there. But now we need to move on to what I consider the final thing that needs to be finished in the street before we can continue to our next project, and that is the starter base. It's funny that we've built all of this, but we never actually moved into the starter base over here. And so we're going to fill this area. I suppose now is a good time for me to explain what I actually wanted to do in here. So I want this to be kind of like a... Hold on, let me turn my shaders off, because my computer can't handle it. I wanted this area to kind of be like a museum or a gallery for a whole bunch of small things that we find throughout the world. So, for example, we've got the dragon egg here, just tucked away in the corner casually. But also I want to have kind of representation for each tree that we can find in the world. And every type of book, you know, all sorts of stuff, collector stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into that build right now. So I've gone ahead and done quite a bit of placing of the blocks. Not everything, but I feel like this is enough for now. Eventually, I want this building to be like a memorial, like I said, to everything in the game. And recently, I just put in all the botanical stuff. So we've got chorus fruit, which will eventually grow. We've got every type of sapling, or almost every type of sapling. Maybe there's still a few more that I need to plant. Every type of crop, although we're missing the carrots, they've gone. Yeah, we've got some wheat, some coral, both dead and alive. Got cauldrons, you know, everything. Over here we've got a bookshelf where we can put all the enchanted books. We've got some pots, which are a great way to use sherds. Some nether plants, you know, the dragon egg. We've got a calibrated skulk sensor just behind here, which is pretty cool. Some turtle eggs up there. Yeah. In here we were going to put an aquarium, but we haven't really done much with the ocean as of recently, so maybe not for now. Got some bamboo down here. A little custom tree with tuff and granite and spruce and oak and birch with some grass on it, some moss, some azalea leaves, some birch leaves. We got the glowberry vine. I think it's called a vine. Got some little infinite water sources. Yeah, there's just a bit of everything in this room. And I want to eventually fill up this whole place with one block of everything. And this is only the first level, really. A little bit of ancient debris. Pretty sick. Yeah. I was supposed to put a water elevator in here, but I haven't done that yet. We can go up here. Pretty sick. Nice view of the sunset, by the way, as well. And the tree is cool. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful sunset. But anyway, there's a couple of things that I wanted to do on camera. And one of those is... Boop, boop. Let's put this down here. And this in here. And flip it around so it makes sense. Is it that way? Yeah. So that is the very first wooden pickaxe that I made. And I mean, the durability on it is still pretty good because I immediately made a cobblestone pickaxe like every sane person does. But it's kind of a good monument to, you know, how you started versus where we're at, which is crazy, you know? It's good to remember those things, and I can finally showcase this mod. Shift right click. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's one of them. And the other thing is kind of a fun little experiment I wanted to try. Add a little bit of spice into this build. We've got this little floating magical thingy here. And I think what it needs is a touch of explosives. Let's just be incredibly careful about this. Here we go. Bob's your uncle. Pretty cool. Now, pretty much all of this copper is not in the state that I actually designed it to be in. A lot of it needs to be oxidized down. But it's still pretty sick, huh? I was thinking maybe we could do an enchanting table up there in that room, looking down on the aquarium. That would be pretty sick. But yeah, there's so many different things in Minecraft nowadays. and I think having a place to show them off is incredibly cool. Like, we got everything from end crystals to, you know, the different types of plants to creatures and dragon eggs and everything. And so I think this place will become a very cool spot. But I do need a name for it, because I can't keep calling this starter base forever. So yeah, let me know what we should call our starter base down in the comments below. But ladies and gentlemen, this is all for today's episode. No fancy time lapses, none of that. It was my maximum effort, okay? We've done quite a bit though. I mean, we added an interior here, which is great. It's no longer like your stock standard hopper stuff. We've finally added an interior in here after 10 episodes. Ridiculous. We completely swapped out the vibe that we had going on with this building, and instantly looks way cooler. And we've done some other touch-ups around the place that I didn't show on camera. But this is all that I'm going to be doing in this area for now. I mean, obviously, there's still so much we can do. But we're not doing that anymore, because next episode we're working on a new project, and that is... Ooh, let me see if I can get past my security. And that is our dock. But our dock / our storage system is what we're going to work on next, and I'm pretty excited. It's a big project, I can't lie, but it'll be good. We'll finally have proper storage instead of operating out of that shipping container. And this whole area adjacent to the block that we've been working on is finally going to come to life a little bit. It's exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next episode. Ooh, that's funny.